Welcome back and thanks for joining us. This cross-brand review is one of the things we get to do almost exclusively as we are independent reviewers. So why are we looking at these two balls? Well, for one, they are released about the same time. Second, and more importantly, they're both pearls with big symmetric cores. We have the Velocity core versus the Affliction V2 core. The specs and sizes are pretty similar, as you can see. Then we have the R2S Pearl versus the Dynamic Infusion Pearl, and that's probably where the biggest difference lies. On paper, these are symmetric cores, which typically means a boomy, more rounded, continuous motion. However, we know historically the Velocity core rolls like a big ASIN, and we recently found that so does the Affliction V2 core. I know some might argue with me about the Velocity core roll, but when it's brand new, it always rolled like a big ASIN. Let's get right to it. For me, the Sky Raptor is a mid-defined ball, while the Phaze 5 is a mid-late. So I would say they're really more complements than competitors at the end of the day. The Sky Raptor has a defined skid flip type shape. Its hook phase is pretty quick and the ball rolls pretty forward like you would normally see with kind of a big asymmetric core. Clearly it can handle and prefers a bit more volume. This way I'd be able to open up the angles a bit, but not massively. The Phaze 5, on the other hand, is a boomier, later reaction shape which looks more traditional, symmetric in nature as compared to, say, the Phaze 3, and that allows it to be thrown a bit deeper with more continuation. However, it does handle less volume than the Sky Raptor. The responsiveness has a pretty different characteristic between these two balls. The dynamic infusion cover, along with the Affliction core, make for a kind of explosive, quick reaction down lane. In fact, I'll venture to say it's the sharpest ball from Motiv to date. With the Phaze 5, it sort of gets there and feels like it hesitates a bit as it's transitioning, but then turns over in a booming and climbing way. So one is hook set, the other is a bit slower transition, go, 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 then boom. The Sky Raptor was a bit more prone to over-under on this medium condition for me, despite the Phaze 5 having the react-to-gloss finish. For Tyler, it's pretty much the same story. The Sky Raptor is clearly a big ball. It covers lots of boards and has that hook set motion, kind of barrels forward through the pins. It's the same story here in terms of preferring more volume, although Tyler didn't have much of an issue using it. With the Phaze 5, as you saw in the original video, he loved the motion, but he saw more over-under with it versus the Sky Raptor, mostly due to the react-to-gloss finish. The Sky Raptor has less under and more over with his rev rate. The Phaze 5 just seemed to almost feel like it over-revved and had mostly under versus over. However, once we scuffed the cover of the Phaze 5 a bit with the 2000 Abalone, it was smooth sailing, literally. It doesn't feel huge and it feels like a proper mid-late ball for him, but it does enough reliably. The Sky Raptor is also a clearly mid-defined for Tyler and a shape he frankly doesn't use often. However, it looked quite good and maybe a different kind of option for him when it's higher volume with some breakdown in the future. Last but not least, here's Brian. Good thing is that both the Motiv Sky Raptor and Storm Phaze 5 were the same kind of ball for each bowler. No one was surprised after having seen the other tested. The Sky Raptor had that same heavy hook set shape that Tyler and I saw. When Brian found the slot, he slayed with it, just crushed the pocket. And once he had to open up a little, he immediately saw what he's seen with other mid-defined shapes, just a ball that kind of quits. It doesn't generate, enough, it doesn't store enough energy to provide enough angle for carry once he has to move in. Now with the Phaze 5, while it was clearly less ball, it was also way more versatile. Especially on this condition. He could strike from the same area as the Sky Raptor, but with that rounder shape off the friction, the big thing now was that he could get in with the Phaze 5 and he had way more room to move and still get good motion through the pins. But finally, I would say both companies have something special here. Motiv has found what I feel is a highly responsive cover more than anything else to date. I'm not sure, if you want that or don't want that as a Motiv fan, but it's clearly something they provided. Storm continues to use the R2S cover as it's probably the most reliable cover stock in history, frankly. I mean, it's clean enough, but creates a boomy, continuous characteristic. We also know it takes very well to surface adjustments, so, it is what it is. And so anyway, there you have it. A little bit of a surprise, I would say, for both brands. Motiv lighting up the skid flip buzzer, while Storm makes the Phaze 5 a bit rounder than its predecessor.